is the Angry Anime Fan from New York, and if you wonder why I sound so weird, it's because I'm battling a cold. Been sick these last couple 3 days, and hopefully I am gonna feel better by the end of the week, but no promises. I really hate getting sick, but that's not what this thing is about. This is the One Piece review from the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer, chapter 893. Let's just say Katakuri once again changed a little bit in opinion than previously said. I mean, I cannot dislike Katakuri because, well, he is cool and badass fighting, and it almost seems to be the fact that he is more honorable than many of his siblings combined. It's too bad though that he is an enemy, unless he pulls a heel face turn, but I highly doubt he does. Either way, in this chapter, Flambaby, who have wounded Luffy, causes Luffy to lose his footing, and he gets too beat up by Katakuri, who wonders why is that happening. As Flambaby and her personal squads laugh at Luffy's misery, Luffy gets kicked around by Katakuri, who wonders why he is suddenly losing focus after fighting this for much. Gotta say, Flambe's sadistic laughs is honestly pissing me off a lot here. So either way, as despite being constantly kicked down, punched down, and wounded beyond belief, almost to the point that he has been, or how do you say this? Almost to the point where he has never ever been wounded this much before. Well, Luffy still gets up, and he also remembers the time when he practiced with Rayleigh, where he at the first time practiced Kenboshu no Haki with a blindfold, and he wonders that he saw it, but he wonders if it was his imagination. And according to Rayleigh, beyond that of imagination is the color of observation, and become able to sense it unconsciously. Despite Luffy still wobbling and being very wounded. In fact, when I think about it, is this the most wounds Luffy has ever been faced in a battle before? I mean, we can argue that he has been wounded a lot before. The most dangerous wounds he suffered were the Paramount War, in a way. However, this is the fact that Luffy now has a closed eye that is wounded. Flambe tries to shoot one of her sweetbread needle, but Luffy dodges unconsciously through his observation haki, although he still falls over. It's during that time that she laughs even harder, that Katakuri actually finally notices Flambe. And though a lot of people can argue that how the hell did he not notice her before, because he is an observation haki expert, and then I say to you all, people, observation haki does not mean an absolute view or point. I think he can only see what he wants to see, and what he wanted to see was the fight against Luffy, meaning that he's so focused on the fight with Luffy that he cannot censor. So Katakuri approaches Flampe as Luffy keep on trying to get up. Katakuri then realizes that the reason why Luffy lost focus and began to not move so much is because of her, and he realized that's it. He used that to break his focus, and I inflicted a fatal wound because of that. So it turns out that Katakuri is a man of honor. He wants to defeat a person, even though he doesn't like when a person is fighting him too much. It does seem though that the fact that that Luffy got wounded and that he won and Katakuri managed to do a fatal wound is not something he wanna win like that. So Katakuri approaches his Flampe, who begins to float towards her brother, all the while saying dreaming thin. However, then Katakuri shows the most surprising thing we have ever seen from him before. As I said before in the beginning one, he shows his honorable side here, as subtly Katakuri stabs himself with his trident, proving that yeah, he is very much different than his mother and his brothers and sisters. I mean, he is still loyal to his mother and in a way is just as ruthless as her. But the fact that he wounded himself just to be on even with Luffy because Luffy got a fatal wound because of a outside force, that just shows his honorable side. And he then removes his scar and screams at his little sister, showing his bored teeth. Do not give unwanted support in a duel between men. And Flambe can only scream in terror as she sees the fangs and actually and suddenly the fangirling girl just shows says the teeth is lame. I mean, she's pretty immature and petty, but then again, she was not high on my liking list. Is uh, the fact that she changes her opinions that big is not exactly uh, so. It's actually pretty annoying. And then we see a brief flashback on Katakuri's flashback, especially when Flampe call his teeth that of a pelican eel. Because it turns out that when Katakuri was a child, a lot of people also ran away from him because, well, his teeth terrified them, and he was strong even as a child. This shows that not only Pudding had a tough life as a childhood. Then again, when I think about it, I think almost any one of the Charlotte family members had a tough childhood. I mean, with a mother like Big Mom, who wouldn't have a horrific childhood. However, we see that brief flashback as Katakuri turns back and begins to approach Luffy again. All the while, her subordinates take pictures of Katakuri and his teeth and says that she's gonna get this all over Totland and expose the real you. Uh, and she says she's just so ashamed of being blood related. Yeah, she is pretty immature. But Katakuri doesn't seem to be bothered by that. In fact, he only apologizes to Luffy the fact that I didn't notice Needle. However, Luffy says, surprisingly, in a duel between pirates, there's no such thing as playing dirty. I mean, a lot of his opponents have acknowledged that, but the fact that Luffy himself acknowledges that there's no such thing as playing dirty, that means that he acknowledges that the fight against Katakuri, that Cracker, may not have been the fight he wanted, but he says that that was his way, that was a pirate fight, so there's no such thing as playing dirty. He acknowledges that. However, in order to silence their noisy people, suddenly Luffy unleashes his Conqueror's Haki, and surprisingly Katakuri does it too, revealing that yes, Katakuri is a Conqueror's Haki user as well, making him making him the third 100% confirmed user that has used all three Haki. I mean, Whitebeard was confirmed to have all three, but we did not see him use his Hawashokan Haki, but it was confirmed that he had it. So the fact that Katakuri, a subordinate of Big Mom, have Conqueror's Haki is actually pretty rad, but it's not that surprising. Given his bounty and his strength, we should all assume the strongest have it. And the Conqueror's Haki combined with Katakuri and Luffy actually knocks out Flampe too. With the spectaculars knocked out, Katakuri takes off his shirt and reveals his boxing move, saying, "I no longer think you're below my level." "I'm glad to hear that, but I am gonna win," says Luffy. This is basically this chapter. This was only a chapter to show that Katakuri is more honorable than we previously thought. And to show us that, yes, the reason why he has always been so insecure about those teeth of his is because he has had them since childhood, and people ran away from it. Truly, Big Mom, you really did not have a very advanced people's opinions on how they looked. Other than that, the pacing of this chapter was pretty blah. Nothing really big happened, and the cover page was about Leo and the Totoland pirates, or whatever they're calling themselves, on their ship Dusaland. And many of the dwarfs are swimming, confirming that not all of them are devil fruit users and the dwarfs can swim. But I enjoyed Katakuri's honorable side. Other than that, I don't really have anything big to say about it. You give me a false if you have any.